Hello, everyone, and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose. Nope, God, your hefty dose. Sure, whatever. That's the best I got right now of the internet for Sunday, September 30th, 2018. I am Michael Schwan.
Shit. I forgot what gimmick I was doing. References. I'm Snake Plissken.
I know that one. That is from Escape. Well, there's two of them because there's
Yep.
Escape from New York and what is the other one? Escape from Los
Escape
Angeles,
from LA.
L.A.
Yeah, Escape
Okay,
from LA.
I enjoy those movies. They're both quite good.
They are, and they caused half of the inspiration for one of my favorite Billy and Mandy characters ever.
Which one?
Haas Delgado.
Oh, really? He's based off
Yeah,
of Snake.
half of him is based off of Snake Plissken. You can tell by his facial structure. The
Okay.
other half is based off of Ash Williams from The Evil Dead.
All right. Cool. Well,
So
please
fun
remember,
fact.
everyone, you can help support this show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. You can also pick up some of our merchandise in the links below. If you have anything that you want us to talk about, whether it's a news story, whether it's a recent one or an old one, or if you think we skipped something, missed something, you want to correct us, you want our theory about something, you want to ask us about something that happened 6 years ago, you want to ask our opinions of something at all, whether it's a video game, media, or just a random picture, you can send that to us on any of the following locations: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit. All of those are at iRedditCast. In addition, you can also send us an email to iReddit@mjolnir.media. So, Nathan, how's your week been?
It's my last week of training.
Okay.
So this upcoming week, I will actually be alone for the next couple hours. And about Tuesday, I got pretty sick with the thing that's been going around.
Gross.
So yeah, it was real bad. So on Wednesday, I tried to stay home, and they were like, "Yeah, you could do that, but just remember that next week you start your new schedule for sure, and there's nobody else going to be there, so you basically can't call in sick anymore."
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, is it cool if I just like slobber all over my desk, essentially?
They were like, no, they were real cool about it. They were like, yeah, I mean, really, you just have to be there to input the cases and to result the cases out. Like, we don't expect very much of you. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Right on.
Good, because like nobody should really expect very much of me.
Now I'm just picturing like a super red-nosed Nathan with the beanie you're wearing right now and like a big blanket made by your sister sitting at the desk just like
With a small mountain fort of the tissue boxes that we keep in the closet just built around me. All
plus
of them popped open with a tissue popping out because those are like my ramparts, you know?
three of the like industrial sized trash cans in the back that you're just like that you can just see this little mountain of white filling up in.
Absolutely. Actually, it's not going to be very very white. It'd be like kind of yellowish tinged.
Oh, gross. And then also in front of you, like, well, not only is there your computer where you can put in input cases, but there's like 4 different cups. Like, this one has tea, this one has coffee, this one has water. Like,
Absolutely. I only have the tea there so that the vapors can get into my nose. Meanwhile, I drink the coffee and then I drink the tea regardless because tea is good cold or warm.
coffee is not.
Coffee is very much not.
Like
Coffee is all right cold if you brew it specifically to be cold.
Or if it's iced, like if it's
Right.
cold, like
So that's the only way coffee cold is fine.
like it's
If you got warm coffee and then at some point it became cold coffee,
Nope.
that coffee is garbage.
Yeah.
It is too late. You may want to microwave it with a like wet paper towel over the top of the opening for about 30 seconds if you're really trying to push it, but otherwise just dump it out.
You know,
coffee.
One of the interesting things though is like when I brew coffee, whether it's here at the house or at work, I have the little coffee pot at work. If I brew coffee, like if that isn't like piping hot, I'm still normally okay if it's just pretty warm. Not warm, because once it hits just where you just describe it as warm, it needs to be pretty warm or
Chris
hot.
in the chat says, hey Chris.
But however, with espresso that you get at, Starbucks, Kaladi Brothers, wherever, if that so much as falls below the point of where I would describe it as hot, it becomes disgusting.
A lot of Starbucks coffee comes with different kinds of milks.
Sure.
And milks, after being warmed, being cold, much have the same effect that coffee does.
Sure.
especially if it's like not even full milk. If it's like half and half,
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do it. However, half and half is fantastic when you use them for White Russians.
If you say so, buddy.
It's the second best drink, and it would be the first best drink if it weren't for the fact that I'm lactose intolerant. That is the only reason why it's the second best drink.
So what is the first best for you then?
A gin and tonic.
I'd say just straight gin.
Yep. Well, I mean, I like tonic water in it and a little bit of lime, but like, or Sprite, that also works. But Mother's Ruin is definitely the best drink.
Is that
Good morning, Zach, in the chat.
Is that what gin and tonic is? Is it called a Mother's Ruin?
Yeah, it used to be called Mother's Ruin because, well, it would ruin people.
Oh.
And those poor mothers.
So what's your excuse, Nathan?
Well, I mean, I've been ruined since the beginning, so you can't ruin something that's already shit.
Oh, all right. If that's what you want to go with.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
That being said, my poor mother. Yes, Zach, I want to apologize to you. I did not go to your birthday because I had taken a nap and did not wake up to my alarm, which is why I wasn't here last Sunday either. That being said, though, my phone was also dead last Sunday, so it wasn't quite that. My charger no longer works, so I got a new one.
It's all right, Zach. That's the same reason that he missed my engagement.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind.
Oops.
We love you all the same, sir.
Hey, Mom in the chat. I'm sorry about Mother's Ruin and everything.
10.
Bill Cosby sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison for Andrea Constand sexual assault.
Isn't Andrea?
What did I say?
Andre?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
This is submitted by SP Sheridan to our news.
English is difficult this early in the morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that entire situation has finally found its resting place. I don't know how
Do you want to know the first food he had when he was in prison?
Vanilla pudding.
Vanilla pudding.
Which I don't understand the joke. Is there a joke there?
Man, there's a definite joke.
Okay.
There's definitely a pudding pop Cosby joke.
I don't think I've ever heard this joke.
That doesn't surprise me. You're actually like uncultured, but that's all right.
Okay. Well, despite the dozens of cases that were alleged against Bill Cosby, only one of them was actually able to be taken to a full criminal trial. Another one was, but it went to a mistrial. This is the only one that they actually had enough to be able to do anything with it, and it is going to result in 3 to 10 years of Cosby going to prison. Currently, he is going to be being passed around prisons essentially till they figure out.
Oh my God, they're just gonna pass him around to the inmates?
I mean, that's one way you could describe it.
Wow, I thought we were trying to be against stuff like that in prisons.
Well, they got to figure out where they're putting him.
Oh my God, are they just like, we're gonna pass him out in the shower, and then we're gonna pass him out in everyone's rooms?
No. More of that. How old is this guy now? Like 80?
He's like 70.
81.
Oh, I'm like 10 years behind.
I mean, I think all of these allegations started when he was like 75, but
that's only like 6 years though.
Yeah, I
That's not
know,
full
but
10.
that's the difference between hearing the number 70 and 80.
Do you know which comic was the reason that all of these Cosby people started stepping forward?
No.
Hannibal Buress.
Okay.
He did a set where he essentially was talking about how it wasn't really okay to be around Bill Cosby because y'all know people get drugged and raped and stuff, and it really got people to start talking. And after that, Bill Cosby, just a lot of accusers just coming out because of it. So good on Hannibal Buress because he brought light to the fact that Bill Cosby is a horrible abuser. And good job on Hannibal Buress for addressing people in a medium that's comfortable for you.
Well, yeah.
And if y'all haven't listened to any Hannibal Buress stand-up, you should.
The defense was trying to argue to get him to be placed into house arrest due to both his age and the age of the cases. Neither the judge nor the prosecutor gave a damn. They're like, I don't care if he's 80.
Quite frankly, sir, I don't give a damn.
Yeah, like it's like he still did horrible things and he's still a horrible person. He needs to not just get to relax at home for, years.
The last 20 years of his life.
Like he's still, at best only going to be in prison for 3 years. But at the same time, it's like we need to not set that level of precedent.
Best,
what?
It's 3 to 10. I figure at best would be 10 years.
What did I say?
You said 3 years at best.
Sure. At best would be 10. At worst would be 3. Either way.
Yeah.
In which case, though,
actually, at worst, he'd get out on probation.
Well, they already said that that's probably not going to be possible.
Oh, good.
Because that would be much the same line as house arrest.
Right, which is just, in his case, not viable. I agree with house arrest for some cases. This is not one.
Well, it's less about, who he is, how old he is, anything like that. It's literally about we don't want to send any level of message of you do this and you can get away with just relaxing at home for a few years.
He is definitely the case to go by from this point going forward because he is one of the first. I figure Weinstein's not over yet, is it?
I don't think so, but
once Weinstein's over, that one's going to be a massive one, and it's going to be a massive win.
But
and if this Cavanaugh thing pans out, that will also be a massive win. Though a lot of people are very upset about that because a lot of it's politically motivated.
Well, and the interesting thing about that is, and like I will say, we don't have anything about Kavanaugh in our 10 today. It didn't get high enough on Reddit's upvote system, so there was so many things that were ahead of it, and I think that so many people are keeping an eye on it that I don't feel that we need to necessarily talk about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I will say on the Kavanaugh thing is that one of the things that people are raising is like, it's kind of weird that there's for 20 years these people never said anything. But the moment that he's going to become a Supreme Court justice, that's the moment that people start talking. And it's like that while I understand what you're trying to say of that, like they're just paid actors by the Democrats to try and keep Kavanaugh out of office. Like the other part is that it's one thing if you are assaulted by a horrible person and that person goes off in their life and does other things. But the moment that you see that this horrible person is about to become one of the most powerful people in the country and be able to make decisions for everyone else's lives, it changes the intensity about how you should handle that situation. Like, yes, it does seem politically motivated, and that's because it is. Because it's one thing to be like, you know what, they're in another state, they're dealing with things over there, I avoid them, I don't see them, to they will now have a level of power over the entire country.
You were literally saving people.
Like, if there was a time to say something, that is the time. Because it's
don't try to silence people. Allow people to speak up whenever they feel ready.
Well, and I think what the majority of the GOP is concerned about with things like this happening is that much in the same way that our bipartisan system functions, in that every single thing that one side does is either meant to shut down, counteract, or undo something that the other side did. They are concerned that that if this pattern continues and if it doesn't always have a level of legitimacy behind it, it'll just be a tactic to endlessly prevent someone from ever being appointed to any position. That it'll just be the go-to defense or countermeasure to shut someone's nomination or candidacy down. Of this person's running or nominated for this position, well, we're going to get someone in there to accuse them, and that will just automatically prevent them from being either confirmed or elected.
At least immediately.
Right. And, and so I think that's really where their concern is that it'll just create a pattern.
Yeah.
But
and I can understand their concerns. I really can. But the weight of these words are so massive that it is by and large an important thing to figure out whether or not this Chief Justice is one of the boys being the boys or is actually a judge.
I think he is not to use the phrase lightly, but I do think in the term of what you were describing, he was a boy being a boy, but not that should be acceptable.
No, absolutely not.
And I think that
it was more acceptable then, but it never should have been.
And that's the thing that I was going to go into next. Was that's one of the interesting, like, pains as the world moves forward in terms of don't be shitty to one another.
Right.
Is
because
that
people are going to get caught in that transitional period where they were doing shitty things in a society where it was more acceptable to do these shitty things, into a society where it's like, hey, that's a shitty thing. That was always a shitty thing, and we're going to address that. And it is important for these people to come forward in this transitional time to show these people that, yeah, you did something shitty. That's really fucking shitty, and you should not do that stuff ever fucking again. And all of you people watching, don't fucking do this shit ever fucking again. And it's important to show people, because talking and telling people just ignore that shit.
and that's really what it is that it's important that people recognize that what was on, and still wasn't okay, but was on a level socially acceptable 50 years ago is not today, or hell, even 30 years ago, or even 20 years ago.
McLaughlin, have you been checking the news? There was a case recently where there is a woman who was falsely accusing somebody of rape, and now she's serving like 10 years.
Yeah, there's actually been a couple of them.
It actually happened.
We've covered 2 of them, I think.
Yes, so that's not a viable excuse anymore.
But beyond that, I think if, for instance, like with the Kavanaugh thing, it's all about, and this is just like a lesson to anyone that has anything to do with PR in general, ever, anywhere.
Puerto Rico?
No, public relations.
Oh, okay.
Is if something goes wrong, if you or your company or whatever does something wrong, the thing that you will then be judged upon is about how that matter is handled when it comes to light, because it will. So, like, with, the things like with Elon Musk or even like the Kavanaugh stuff, if you depending on how you handle it, it depends on how it is viewed in the public's eye. For example, with the Kavanaugh stuff, while I can understand why he would not admit something along the lines of what he admitted, but just being, like, literally breaking into tears and screaming violently at the confirmation hearing is not...
That shows you what kind of pressure can crack that man. Sure, that is an immense amount of pressure, but that is something a judge of that high caliber will have to deal with.
Well, and also, it's less of, instead of just being angry and just being this vile human being about it, if you approach it with a matter of grace and a matter of respect to the people that are involved in the matter, you will get a lot farther.
Oh, absolutely.
But all you've done for yourself now is generate a immense amount of negative press. Whereas, even beyond admitting anything, just discussing and talking about the cultural changes of the world.
Speaking of, I saw one of the most disgusting, I can't even call it a meme because it's not even a meme. It's not a joke. It is so fucking gross because of this. I saw a picture.
I know which one you're about to describe.
That stated one of the last people who were falsely accused of raping someone had been hung because of it, essentially referring to, I forget his name, but it was a prominent black individual from the South who was lynched after a white woman had accused him of rape when it never happened. And I had to point out that that man was not lynched because he was a false rape accused individual. He was lynched because of deep-seated racism in the South.
Yeah, because he's black.
He would have been lynched for stealing a fucking apple.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. Show me one case where a white man was lynched for the same reason. And if you say they were just following the law, then you are so fucking amoral.
But with this situation, to take it back for just one last moment, if you approach it with I do not believe that happened, we can, conduct an investigation and discuss the matter further, but I will, state that on in today's society, any matter along those lines is, extremely, choose your negative, adjective, whether disgusting, deplorable, completely unacceptable on any level. Like, if you approach it in a more amenable manner, amenable manner. Anyway, it gets you so much farther than just being like, I hate you guys, the world's against me. Just like that.
It is, people are too close to other ideas. Like, I was called a Nazi sympathizer because I tried to point out that you don't come out the womb a fucking Nazi, and that it is definitely nature versus nurture, and we as a society have failed neo-Nazis because we have gotten them to the point where they feel like they are correct in their assumptions of these races.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But that being said, they're not the only kind of people we failed, and we failed a lot of other people way fucking worse. But that doesn't mean we can't try to rehabilitate these people instead of just punching them in the face every time we can see them.
I mean, it's like
That being said, it's really hard, but it's like, yeah, as you were about to say, it's like the black man converting the KKK members.
Yep, he's just a black blues player who decided that he didn't want KKK around anymore, so he finds them and talks them out of it, and he's done it over 200 times. Including like two grand wizards or whatever.
They give him their hoods and everything.
Yeah, including like two grand wizards.
Literally hanging their hoods up.
Or what is it? What is the high ranking cake? It's called Grand Wizard. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it is the Grand Wizard, and that fucking pisses me off because now if I want to play something in a fantasy scenario, I can't use that term.
But I think like he's gotten two of them.
Huh?
I think he's gotten two of them to hang up their hoods.
Which is great because they are the highest caliber. Funny story though. In the first South Park game, and any South Park game that has Wizard Cartman, he goes by Grand Wizard Cartman because of that ranking.
Dang. But so anyway, with all of that said, that bringing it all the way back, yeah, Bill Cosby's a terrible person. He's being punished for it. We will see what happens with Cavanaugh. And
we can't just ruin these people's lives for something they did 40 years ago.
You absolutely can.
Yeah. They're still being held against. Are you telling me that if Hitler survived, now it would be okay to not ruin his life? Like, we can't ruin his life because it's been over 40 years since World War II?
Like,
or is that too much? Let's bring it back a bit. What about Kony? Is it okay now that he is no longer? Actually, I don't know if he's doing that anymore. I think his group got so small that they're still operating, but barely.
I don't know. But yeah, there's not a statute of limitations on this. So legally, yes, you still can and should, purely for the sake of making sure other people understand that it's not okay.
Yeah.
And you should teach
There has to be examples.
You should teach your children and friends that it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we want to go along with another recent meme that was shared, even Austin Powers understood this during one of the movies.
Consent, baby.
Yeah, during one of the movies, one of the women was trying to climb on top of him, and she's like, "Come on, make out with me," or whatever she said. He's like, "I can't. You're drunk. It wouldn't be right." Like, it's Austin Powers. He's like, "Yeah, no, seriously, this is."
He is like one of the highest sexual-driven characters that have ever been written,
and he
still knew consent.
And that was 20 years ago.
Yeah. He is a prime example of being an over-sexualized character, but still being the actual good kind of over-sexualized character. Though there are still a couple examples in his works where he's being, offensive in some fashion.
He's a pretty offensive character.
As Austin Powers, not as Mike Myers.
Yeah.
However, that being said, I do not agree with how Mike Myers killed all of those children in that movie. So,
are you okay there?
Did you? All right.
Were you able to handle it, Nathan?
Funny story, real quick, before we're diving more into horror movie puns. Have you seen Baby Driver?
No.
Well, there's a part in Baby Driver where they're doing a heist, and they're like, "Hey, did you get the Halloween masks?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so he pulls out Michael Myers face masks, like from Austin Powers. And they were like, "No, what? This isn't Mike Myers. We're asking for Mike Myers, like Halloween masks." And he was like, "These are Halloween masks. This is Michael Myers. Yeah, what? I don't understand."
Oh my God.
The reason why they had to do that was because they couldn't get the rights to the Mike Myers masks for the movie, so they had to go with Michael Myers.
That's amazing.
And it was one of the best jokes in the entire movie.
You know, I'm glad that they weren't able to get the rights to it, because that's hilarious.
Also, I thought Baby Driver was going to be stupid because I disliked the name of it, because I thought, you know, that's just a stupid name. But holy shit, I was the most wrong I could have ever fucking been.
Yeah?
Because Baby Driver is one of the coolest fucking action flicks I've seen.
Well, I'll watch it sometime.
There are bits. Okay, so because he has tinnitus, he's listening to music constantly to get past that buzzing sound.
Yeah.
And there are legitimate action bits where gunfire and things are happening to the beat of the song that's being played in the background.
That sounds epic.
It's fucking sick. I love the cinematography for it, and it was all based off of a music video that had Julian Barrett and Noel Fielding, both of the Mighty Boosh. If you haven't watched, you absolutely do. Most people have seen at least one bit of it, and that's the old Greg bit. And it had Nicholas Frost in it, and another guy I can't remember, but he's famous. He's a famous British guy. And their bit was the three dudes run into the bank for a heist, and Noel Fielding is left in the car with music playing so that he's dancing because he's the getaway driver. And they legitimately take the joke at the end of that music video and put it in Baby Driver. And they put a section from that music video in Baby Driver, like the actual music video. It's playing in a background scene on a TV.
So we've gotten one done. Should we move on?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
9.
The billionaire LA Times owner calls social media the cancer of our time.
This is submitted by Jose Twitter fan to our news. I'm sorry, I'm really tired and I get on tangents when I'm real tired.
That's okay. They've also had to go back and correct themselves to say that the fake news has been the cancer of our fake news on social media has been the cancer of our times.
Well, I don't know. I agree with them there, but let's extend that to all of social media, because like social media does help. It helps a lot, but social media also hurts. Social media hurts a great load.
Well, and
it's causing so many more psychological problems for our generation, because we are one of the first generations to have a wide presence on social media, and we're not used to it, so it's hard to get adapted to.
Well, and with that same thing though, like while it is damaging in some ways, there's also so many benefits to social media. Like when people are, you know, really just embracing, you know, fear of missing out, it definitely does severely damage them in terms of how they see society. But on the same time, the level of interconnectivity that we receive by social media is incredible. Like I mean, you know,
I can chat and play games with the dude across the seas at any point if I so felt like it, and we have never been able to do that at any point in history aside from writing letters and waiting months for him to come back, and even then you weren't really doing it across seas unless you were fucking crazy. So you didn't have pen pals across seas unless you were coming to America from like England.
It's just
I guess the Chinese coming over for the American Railroad, there's probably a bunch of people.
It'll be an interesting balance that'll continue to need to be addressed. And realistically, when it comes to the fake news, like most of that I feel is on the companies themselves, because they're the ones that, like, I mean,
well, a lot of companies are real scumbaggy and they are really down for making a buck.
Yeah, Facebook, looking at you, buddy.
Or several million bucks at a given point. But at the same time, we at this point understand what it is to have a social media presence. We understand what social media does to psychologically to people and things like that. And at any point, anybody can stop social media. You can delete your accounts. It's hard because it's a very addicting presence. It's something that you can break.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a physical depending on it. Like, you can open other apps. They don't have to be social media. You can open news apps. You can open forums apps. Sure, forums is a kind of social media, I guess. But No, there's plenty you can do aside from posting on Facebook or scrolling through Facebook.
I will
For
say that
instance, I end up reading a lot of PDFs through the internet because I figured out, and it's fucking fantastic. If you just look up the name of a D&D book for 5th ed, one of the top 4 or 5 is going to be a PDF link for it.
Mhm.
So I've been capitalizing on that, bookmarking as many of them as I can so that I can read through the Curse of Strahd without paying $50 fucking for it, even though I did already. I can read through, Horde of the Dragon Queen if my book somehow gets burned, because I absolutely hate that campaign.
I instead just have them on a wish list on Amazon, and Amazon's like, hey, this is on sale. And I'm like, oh, look, it's only $19 right now.
I'm so sorry. I meant to give you a lot of my 5th ed books, but then a group of mine wanted to play 5th ed, so now I'm
Oh, no, it's no big deal.
Actually started to play a lot more 5th ed.
No, it's perfectly fine. I've gotten most of the ones that have the vast majority of the options in them. So I have like the Player's Handbook. I have Mordenkainen's
Tomb of Foes.
I have the Tomb of Foes. I have the Monster Manual. I have Volo's Guide to Monsters.
Yeah.
I have the Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Guide to Everything. Oh God, I love that book. It's so good.
And I have, I think, the Dungeon Master's Guide. And those are the ones that I have right now.
I had the DMG, I had the Player's Handbook, but like the first 30 pages had fallen out. And I had the Monster Manual one. Actually, it's only the Monster Manual. And I gave them to a group because I wasn't playing 5th ed anymore. And now I play D&D regularly with those guys, and those guys were the ones that wanted to play 5th ed. Now we're playing Curse of Strahd. First session for Curse of Strahd today. I'm really excited. However, after the show, I really need to read up on Barovia because I don't like the city portion, not the country, because I don't know what's supposed to happen in that town, and that's the first thing they get to.
So back to the actual topic at hand, though. One thing that bothers me about this statement, though, is that they're describing it as the cancer of our time, and I would just
more of an addiction.
Yeah, more like an addiction, because cancer hasn't left; it's still here. Cancer's still a problem. Cancer still murders people. Like, I don't want anything to describe cancer of our time because I don't want to take away the focus of solving cancer. What
should have said is it's the polio of our time.
Or like the cocaine of our time? I don't know.
Something like that.
No, because I know too many
I was going to say it leaves me crippled.
Well, I would say I know too many people that associate cocaine with within a positive mindset.
Yo, I'm just saying, everyone's pissed off at rap music for talking about smoking drugs and stuff when Eric Clapton wrote an entire song about doing cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys can fuck right off. I'll listen to my gangster rap.
Vancouver officers free to smoke pot so long as they arrive, quote, fit for duty, police board says.
Speaking of, this is submitted by The Barking Dog to our news.
So they have just a few more weeks before all of marijuana becomes legal across all of Canada. And when it's recreationally legal across the country, there are questions that begin to arise, such as...
Like, can police do it? Because police can drink.
Like, can I smoke then? And the police board has been like, yeah, sure. Just don't show up blazed out your mind and be able to do your job, and we don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, smoke pot at home on your own time, and then come to work sober. It's just like alcohol. Do not come to work drunk.
Or, ridiculously hungover.
Go drink on your own time. Don't drink too much. Don't smoke too much. Just enjoy yourself.
All things in moderation. Torture your body however you choose.
Exactly. Because the entire notion of life and living kind of sucks. Like, there's a lot of fun times, don't get me wrong, and it's great half the time, more than half the time sometimes. But like, it sucks. Like, it really does. Like, I didn't ask to be born. Like, let's be real. I'm sorry, Mom. I never asked to be born.
It's all your fault.
I love it because I can say shit like that because my mom's always in the chat. That being said, I lost where I was going. No, it just kind of sucks. Oh yeah. So if it sucks so much, let people do what they want to do, especially if you're making it actively shitty for them.
Yeah. Can't ask for more than that, I guess.
And I mean, I think it'd be great if more police officers started smoking pot. Not because pot is oftentimes used for calming people down for PTSD and things. That being said, sometimes pot has the exact opposite effect and makes people way more paranoid and stuff like that. Pot is not for everybody. suggest practicing safely by smoking pot maybe once or twice beforehand in a safe environment, so that you can see whether or not it is something that adversely affects you or positively affects your perception.
And then there's people like me who just more than likely will just never.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a viable option. Like, for instance, oh fuck, what's his name? Tyler, the Creator, does not smoke pot. Smoked it once or twice, and it had such a negative reaction on him. He disliked it. That dude's just weird as is.
All right, I don't know who that is, but sure.
He is the guy who did Yonkers.
Don't know what that is.
He also made the TV show Loiter Squad.
Don't know what that is.
He's part of the. He was part of the group. I think he still is. Odd Future Wolfgang Kill Them All.
Nope.
He's that Golf Wang dude.
Nope.
Yeah, I can't think.
Okay.
He's the dude that ate the cockroach in the music video.
No.
Damn it.
7.
Slave labor found in Starbucks certified Brazil coffee plantation.
This was submitted by Draft Draw to our news.
Guess what, Nathan?
What?
Slavery is illegal.
Yeah.
And one of the things is that if you're an American company, even if your production is in another place, you cannot be benefiting from slavery in that manner.
Oh, that's a fucking Nestle.
Hey, Nestle's trying, okay?
Actually, I don't think Nestle is American-based.
I have no idea.
I'm curious now.
Regardless, though, an investigation into one of their coffee plantations in Brazil has found that the
Switzerland.
The majority of the companies that not the majority of the people that work there are not they don't get like running water. They don't have proper sanitation.
Nestle is the second largest Swiss company by revenue.
What's the first one?
I'm not sure.
You're gonna tell me a fact like that?
Probably like IKEA.
Is IKEA Swiss?
I don't know. First largest Swiss company. Oh, by revenue. That would be Glencore International.
What do they do?
I have no idea. Let's see. Industry commodities.
What?
I'm going down to it. While Glencore International may not be a household name, this commodities company is 14th in the overall Fortune Global 500 ranking and highest ranked Swiss company. The world's largest commodities trader. Glencore International makes and trades for the bulk commodities, metals, minerals, oil, cotton, coal, jet fuel, crude oil, gasoline that power industries throughout the world. Glencore employs over 60,000 employees. Their global marketing operations are made up of 3,000 people working in 40 countries, and their industrial operations employs 58,000 people in 33 countries.
Interesting.
That being said, we are not sponsored by Glencore. However, if you want to sponsor us, you can contact us at iRedditcast at Mjolnir.media, right?
Yeah, I think that'll work. Either way, or just any social media.
Or call us up, dudes.
Hit us up, dog. Anyway.
Yeah.
But and don't have slave labor in your work.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Before you even talk to us, figure out if you've got slave labor, because if you do, we don't have nothing to fucking do with you.
We don't fuck with you.
You little stupid ass bitch! I ain't fucking with you. I had a conversation with Michael Whiting the other day about how Big Sean is one of the most underrated rappers right now, and we both agree he's definitely underrated. He's great, and he is out there, and people do like him. But I feel like his shit's really good, and a lot of people are kind of sleeping on him.
Yeah, people are too busy, like eating up Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly and Kanye right now.
Machine Gun Kelly's such a bitch. In that fucking music video, he carried around a black shovel just for one fucking line, and it was a shitty line.
Well, oh well. In any case, so the workers at this Brazilian coffee plantation, to try and get back onto the actual subject, since we're only on the 7th.
Whoops, I said continue.
They don't have proper amenities such as running water, sanitation. They are actually being paid by the amount of coffee that they harvest. And the problem with that is that multiple times they have been told that it was too late and they would weigh the coffee in the morning, but when they went back to work in the morning, the coffee that they had harvested was gone. And when they asked about it, the people that oversaw them literally just laughed at them. And even beyond
that's like the gold mines in the Rundown with Sean William Scott and Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Not seen it.
It is pretty good.
And even more than
It
that,
also had Christopher Walken, and he was like the slave labor guy.
they get paid via check, but they aren't given a way to cash their checks.
And it was in Brazil.
So if they want to cash their checks and get paid, they have to go into town. But in order to go into town, the only way to get there is to take a bus that is ran by the plantation. And
I see what they're doing. They're not gonna fucking...
And a round trip bus ride is $20.
Yo, that's like 4 weeks worth of pay for Brazilians.
So yeah, in order to get paid, they have to pay a very substantial amount of money.
That's ridiculous. Also, the movie took place in Brazil.
They've had a couple of raids already on this plantation. Majority of the workers have been rescued, and so hopefully that will no longer be the case. But holy shit, Starbucks.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Well, it's Starbucks certified. It's not Starbucks themselves. They just said, okay, this is great coffee.
They get their coffee from them. I'm still holding Starbucks accountable.
That's fine. We can do that because they really should have been more on top of that and like taking into consideration more on the production scale.
Especially when this particular plantation has received so many awards for outstanding quality, and not just in their product, but also in like the well-being of their workers.
But is the coffee good though?
I don't know.
It's not an excusable excuse for slave labor, but I want to know.
But is that shit? Is that shit good?
Does it taste good?
I don't know, Nathan. I presume it's just the Starbucks, the coffee you get at Starbucks.
I would hope not.
Aww.
That being said, Starbucks coffee is all right if you're out of coffee to make.
If you're, I'll go to Starbucks or basically just any place that has an espresso machine if I want something that is not just brewed coffee.
100% go to Pilates over Starbucks.
Sure, if that's an option.
Yeah. Or one of the vast amounts of tiny coffee huts.
Yeah. Man paralyzed from waist down since 2013 makes history by walking again using mind-controlled implant to power his legs.
Fucking yeah, dude. This is submitted by Mavia to Fuck Yes Science, except it's just our science.
But fuck yes, science should,
Fuck yes, science.
Be a
this
subreddit.
Is awesome. Does this make him slightly cyborg?
No. Because here's the thing. It's not like they put an implant into his spinal cord to give commands to a machine. They put an implant into his spinal cord and then connected another implant at the bottom of his spinal cord that connects to the nerves in his legs. He's moving his actual legs.
Right, I understand, and that's all well and good, but that could still be a cyborg because he has cybernetic enhancements that allows him to be able to do that.
Maybe. I think it's a stretch. But yeah, he's actually
he's certainly no android.
No. But he's getting to use his actual legs is the coolest part. His spinal cord is actually severed so that he is completely paralyzed from the waist down. It will not, you can't. Until we figure out how to repair nerves and reconnect spinal tissue, that's not something that we can do. So instead, they went, cool, you can still tell your legs to move, but they just don't get the signal. So they have a little thing that's connected to where it gets the signal from, and then connected it to the other side where the signal's supposed to get to, and said, when you receive this signal, send this signgle. And so it's functioning kind of like a connection point between his brain and his legs.
It's like binary. It's just like, but, 1 0 1 0 1, you know?
Yep, and so
it's on and off. It's a light switch.
While it's not like he got complete control back, but he is able to stand up when he needs to. He can walk like across a room without needing any assistance. Longer walks, he normally has like a walker that he can lean on just in case.
Well, yeah, it's understandable. You're still getting used to legs that aren't supposed to be moving.
Well, and the weirder part is the disconnect between what his brain says and when like actually getting the legs to move,
especially if you can't feel those legs. So it's hard to actually walk because you're not. A lot of walking is feeling with your foot to make sure you're on an even surface.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can't feel that, it's going to be very awkward for him. He's going to be ended up dragging his feet sometimes. He may even step incorrectly. So it's understandable he has a walker so that he can help himself in those scenarios.
Yep. Very cool, though. Good work,
Oh,
science.
absolutely. Science is awesome. I feel like this should be great. However, this ruins one industry. This ruins murder ball.
Murder ball?
Murder ball is a sport played between quadriplegics and paraplegics where they all sit in their wheelchairs and play a form of like soccer. However, their wheelchairs are geared to crash into each other and knock each other's wheelchairs over.
This is an actual thing?
Yeah, there's a documentary on it and everything.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's actually really fucking sick.
5,
Putin's tourist accused of nerve agent attack turns out to be a highly decorated Russian intelligence officer.
Go figure. This is submitted by Albon Payne to Our World News.
So this was going back to the first nerve agent attack against
Novichok stuff.
the Russian spy against the Sergei Skripal. Skripal. Well, these two men were seen by security cameras during that attack, and initially it was believed that his name was, where is it? Alexander Petrov and Ruslan Boshirov.
Yeah, I wanted to say Andrei, but it was not. It was Alex. I was close.
And after a substantial amount of investigation, that's not his name. In fact, he was given that name in 2010. And his actual name, if I can find it, is Colonel Anatoly?
Anatoly.
Anatoly Chepiga?
I have to open that.
Chepiga?
I still have to like physically see it in this case.
Chepiga? Chepiga? Chepiga?
Oh no! What's this ad blocker thing? It's telling me to not use ad blocker.
And get fucked?
I'm just gonna turn off ad blocker really quick.
Are you
keep talking?
Are you using uBlock Origin?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. I didn't have that problem. I don't know why I didn't have that problem, but I didn't have that problem. In any case, turns out that he is a highly decorated member of the GRU, Russia's intelligence service.
Anatoly Chepiga.
And which also means that when the Russian President Vladimir Putin was questioned about these two men, and he said those two names mean nothing to us and that they were only civilians, that he was a liar. Not that
I mean, he is a liar.
Not that anyone's surprised by that on any level whatsoever at all.
Yeah, he's an abhorrent man, and unfortunately, he runs an entire country. He's supposed to be taking a year off, but in the Russian law, you can only hold presidential status consecutively, like 2 years apiece.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done this before, where he's served his 2 years, let somebody else have it for a year, came back, and is now serving his 2 years again.
Woo!
So there's that.
4,
Steve-O, now 10 years sober, just crushed his first triathlon.
This is submitted by Beth to Our Sports.
So Steve-O, you probably know him from the old show Jackass. He struggled,
or if not, the Wild Boys.
Or the Wild Boys. He struggled really bad with substance abuse.
Not to be confused with Jell-O.
Especially alcohol. To the point that his friends actually took him and checked him into the hospital to then be treated and be transferred to a rehab facility.
Yes. I mean, it's understandable that he was on a lot of drugs. Have you seen some of those Jackass things?
Yeah.
He like swallowed a fish and let it come out of his nose or some shit like that.
He also had a crab pinch his butt. He also got...
He sewed his butt cheeks together.
He also
shoved fireworks in his ass.
He also strapped himself into a porta potty that was then slingshotted into the air and released.
Yeah, like there's some crazy ass shit this guy has done. but I'm very happy to see that he's really turned it around.
Yep. As of March 2018, he had actually hit 10 years of complete sobriety. And as part of that, he entered into a triathlon that would involve a half-mile swim, a 17-mile bike, and a 4-mile run.
Oh, God.
Yeah, right? I know. Just kill me now. He was part of the men's celebrity division and finished 10th.
Wow. How many people were in that division?
It didn't say.
That's unfortunate. I mean, even if he was 10 of 10, that's still really impressive.
Finishing it at all.
It's really impressive.
Power to you, buddy.
Yeah.
Power to you.
No, absolutely. Especially after watching you all my childhood life
Just get
do some of the most stupid fucking things.
beaten, broken, destroyed.
Funny story, the people who produced Jackass, Dick House, produces Loiter Squad, which is Tyler the Creator's TV show.
Sure. Still no
Which
idea.
I was talking about earlier.
3,
Teacher says she was fired for giving zeros to students who didn't turn in their work.
This is submitted by ZHacker78 to our news.
So real quick, I'm going to start with the statement of her statement that was on her termination letter. And what it basically said is that she was still on probation, and when they are on probation, that they don't actually have to provide a reason for termination, and they did not give one. She can be dismissed without cause. And so they didn't give a reason why she was fired. However, she had recently given an assignment to complete a particular section of a workbook within the week. At the end of the week, some students did not turn them in, so she gave them zeros. However, in the school's handbook, it states that zeros are not possible, and the lowest possible grade is 50%.
Yo, I can get 50% in an entire course
by not doing anything.
That is so fucking ass backwards.
Yep, welcome to Florida.
Yo, Florida, you need to fucking step it up. That's stupid.
So, she wrote onto her whiteboard, "Bye, kids. Miss Torado loves you and wishes you the best. I have been fired for refusing to give you a 50% for not handing anything in. Love, Miss Torado."
Yo, she got fired because those kids are assholes.
Because they didn't do their work.
Yeah.
It swept across social media, although at this point in time, nothing has come from it.
Nothing probably will.
No. You know, I understand the people that want to, you know, criticize participation trophies, but I don't have as much of a problem with participation trophies as I do you just get a 50% because you are in the class.
That's worse than a participation trophy.
Because, like, I mean, if you want
the people who complain about participation trophies were the people giving people participation trophies.
Well, and also, like, what about like the Super Bowl rings? Like, even if you didn't win, you still get
a ring.
You still get a ring.
That being said, they did a lot of work to get there.
That's true, but still.
That's a little different. But at the same time, it's like that's like giving that. I feel like with the Super Bowl rings, it's like silver, like in races and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it's like, why are you giving out silver and bronze medals when obviously gold is the only one that matters? Because gold isn't the only one that matters. You still did something. You were there.
Yep, and much like, I mean, I don't think any Olympian, while they wanted a gold, is going to feel as though they are a piece of shit because they only got silver at the Olympics.
I feel like you're wrong because a lot of the Olympic people are very competitive.
Oh, I know.
That being said, they shouldn't because that's a fucking stupid ass excuse. Yes, you were trying to be the top dog, but you got in the top fucking 3. Just cut your fucking losses.
Of the world.
In fact, I would be so stoked to even go and watch the Olympics, let alone be in the Olympics.
They're in Japan in 2020, and I want to go.
I do not want to go.
No.
I will not go to Japan 2020 Olympics.
Why?
Because of Akira.
Oh.
That was the Japanese Olympics of 2020.
You know, it's fine. It's fine.
All right, whatever.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm sure there's not going to be a dude who turns into a giant baby-headed monster thing.
Nope.
2.
Whatever.
Ryan Reynolds starring in movie about a man who realizes he's a background character in a video game.
This is submitted by Sorry Snail to Our Movies. That's amazing.
I'm an NPC.
Oh man, can you imagine being? Well, I mean, if you want to think about it, like we are all NPCs from other people's perspectives.
But we're also the protagonist from our own perspectives.
From our own perspectives, yeah. That's why I like things like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where every character is almost essentially a main character.
Although, you know, it is interesting to me the times when I notice something that I'm like, that seems odd. Like, for instance, okay, recently the Bianca School did Run to the Future, right? They run to raise money for different different causes. And one of the like they took a picture when they were like first running out the gate to go start the run, and Bianca is at the front, like everyone else is literally not only in the background but is like way behind her too. Like she's a very, you know, like go-getter kid, very excited.
Oh, dude, she is so for it all the time. She's so goddamn adorable.
At the same time, my brain went, you know, as awesome as this picture is, as cool as it is, like it still seemed odd to me on a level that she was at the front and the center of the picture when realistically, like, there was 100% the possibility that she could have been the kid in the middle of the pack that you can only see the top of their head. And it's like, this literally looks like a picture of the main character that ran out the gate first for the good shot so that they would be seen in the frame.
Absolutely. She is 100% photogenic.
It was just an interesting coincidence to me. Anyway, Ryan Reynolds is going to be starring in a movie called Free Guy, and is going to be directed by Sean Levi, who is also known for the Night at the Museum movies, as well as the executive producer of Stranger Things. And it's going to focus on a background character who realizes that he is living in a video game and is going to figure out how to get an avatar to prevent the makers of the game from shutting it down.
That's kind of corny and cheesy, but sure.
Whatever.
It's got Ryan Reynolds in it. It'll probably be funny.
I'm already sold. It's got Ryan Reynolds in it.
Yeah. That dude's hunky.
Are you okay there, Nathan?
1.
World leaders literally laugh at Trump when he claims he has accomplished more than almost any administration.
Who didn't? This is submitted by Mepper to Our World News and has been gilded 6 times.
He, oh, yeah.
Yo. And then he went back and was like, all right, when he first said it, he was like, that's not the reaction I was expecting. And then when he went back and was like, yeah, I told a joke and it got a lot of laughs. That was really good.
And everyone
was like,
what joke? That you're a joke? Yeah, you're a joke. Got it.
It's like the whole didn't.
And then
I meant to say didn't, not did.
And then the number of people from the United Nations that then later went back and confirmed, yes, we were laughing at him.
Yeah. That, oh, God. What world do we live in where every single world leader is laughing at America?
You know, it's one thing when we're like, you know, America's a fucking joke, the world's laughing at us, and then to actually see it.
It makes me wonder if he's actually the worst president in our history, because there's a lot of other really bad presidents.
I don't know. There's so many presidents that I don't know about.
Exactly. A lot of them are probably buried just because they weren't very good. Some of them were 2 terms.
So I don't know.
Yeah, neither do I.
Hey, Nathan.
What?
I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me. What'd you care about over the last week?
That we're gonna lose a lot of viewers, and I mean, we didn't have very many in the first place. But I cared about the whole Roll20 fiasco that was going on.
Oh yeah, I read about that, and that made me quite angry.
It made me very upset because I just purchased the Curse of Strahd on Roll20, and if I knew, I would have saved up and saved that $50 and just used Tabletop Simulator for Curse of Strahd.
So real quick to summarize for everybody, Roll20 is an online tabletop simulator that is used for tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons, so that you can play with other people online from across the world. And so that you don't have to like set up weird webcams to like point at a table in your house. And it allows for some other functions, easy and quick map changes, allows you to roll dice there. It
allows your other people to move your characters, which is important.
Yeah, it
allows dynamic lighting to make it feel like a video game.
And like recently, one of their more prominent users
He's not just a prominent user.
He's also been paying for this service for over 5 years now.
He wasn't a very large poster on the subreddit. He had 2 posts, and one of those posts
was basically
very
saying this is what I'd like to be better.
Yeah, his very in-depth discrepancies with it, and it's very understandable because you have to be able to accept criticism. Now, the Roll20 subreddit was moderated by the co-founder of Roll20 and a bunch of other people that work for Roll20, and that's usually frowned upon on Reddit.
It is actually discouraged by Reddit policy itself
because of the fact that it's hard to take constructive criticism. So this guy gets banned for his post because it resembled another post of a guy that got banned a year prior. And
for the same thing, by the way.
Yep. So this guy, Nolan T, is the moderator. He's the co-founder. Then after the guy proves that he's not that guy, Nolan T doubles down and is like, no, we're going to still keep you banned. So he posts on RD&D. He posts everywhere. It made it to the top 10, or not top 10, the top of all for Reddit. And Nolan T issued a response, and it is now like the 4th most downvoted post in all of Reddit
second,
history.
Actually.
What?
I think it's second most. It's right behind the EA comment.
What? It got past the in the Soulstone post?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I believe so anyway.
So it is severely frowned upon. So at this point, the Roll20 subreddit is now moderated by the people who for the LFG subreddit, looking for group. So every one of the moderators before had removed themselves, which is a good thing. There's been no apology issued by Nolan T. But another thing popped up about the Roll20 group and Nolan T. So there's a group of people on YouTube that are very popular for their D&D videos, whether it be talking about DMing or actually playing. There's Dawnforgecast, there's Taking 20, there's Nerdarchy, and there's Saver Dice. And they had 2 people from Saver Dice, and they wanted to do a D&D game using Roll20. So they contacted Roll20 to see if they can get sponsored and pay minuscule amounts for their time. Literally $12 an hour, and they're probably going to be playing for like 3 hours. Okay. So it was very minuscule. And Nolan T got them all to come to their place for a meeting. And then he told them to their faces that he would absolutely not work with them because they are 5 white guys.
Cool.
And then he gloated about an offer for a streamer that he had gotten from a black girl who's now like partnered on Twitch and everything with them. And he was like, yeah, we definitely need more diversity like that. We're definitely not going to be subscribing and everything to white guys. And I can understand wanting to diversify more. But when you do this just because they aren't diversified, that is still not okay, and it is still backwards. You have to give opportunities to both sides. Otherwise, that is not equality. It is not equity, even. It is just terrible shit. And on top of that, Roll20 really fucked up, because those are like the biggest D&D Dungeons and Dragons groups, role-playing in general, because a lot of them still do like Pathfinder and stuff, role-playing YouTube channels. And that would have been great to be sponsored by Roll20. They would put Roll20 up, everyone would be down. So a lot of people ended up leaving Roll20. A lot of content creators for Roll20, when it comes to tokens and things, were like, hey, if you can prove you bought shit on Roll20, I'll give you a set of that shit for free, just so that I can just email it to you. And a lot of people have been leaving Roll20 to go to Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah.
Fantasy Grounds is super fucking cool. However, the free service is so incredibly small, and you can only play it with one GM unless that GM is an ultimate level subscriber, which is $10 a month, isn't bad, or you can pay a one-time price of $150. And we're not sponsored by them, but I was looking into their product and everything, and that shit is fantastic. I definitely plan on getting that one-time price of $150 sometime. That way, me as the DM can play with as many demo players as I want, and I would gladly find as many groups of people who want to play.
Yep. Remember how we were talking earlier about it's not about what happened, it's about how you approach the response?
Oh, absolutely. And they fucked up their response.
Yeah.
They did not do that shit at any point correctly.
Oh well, it's too late for them now.
Yeah.
I had two things that I cared about. One is that Texas prisons deny dentures to inmates with no teeth and claim chewing isn't a medical necessity.
Damn, this was submitted by Emmett Remus 27 to R Not the Onion.
From what this article is describing, it's mostly a problem in Texas because by a comparison, California, which has the second largest prison population, number 2 to Texas, gives out 6 times the number of dentures that Texas does.
Wow.
But
Texas is full of scumbags. Not everyone in Texas is bad. A lot of Texas people are nice people. A lot of Texas people are also scumbags.
Inmates without teeth in Texas are routinely denied dentures because their prison policy states that chewing isn't a necessity because they can eat blended food.
I mean, are they offering them blended food?
I would guess that they would have to.
Also, who wants to eat a steak blended? That's fucking gross. Or even if you're not offering steak, what kind of foods are you offering that are all right blended? They're not babies. They shouldn't be eating this baby food.
Yeah.
They just don't have teeth. That's like saying, hey, you're not allowed glasses because, like, you don't need to see.
So Texas currently has a prison population of around 150,000. The last time
That's more than a lot of their cities. Actually, not cities. I guess it'd be like small towns, but.
And last time that this number was checked was in 2016, in which they approved 71 dentures.
That's not okay.
15 years ago, they had approved right around 1,000.
Yeah, they. I feel like that prison system is corrupt in Texas. The prison systems are corrupt in a lot of places, but holy shit, that is not okay.
California, which has a prison population of around 130,000, provided just shy of 5,000 dental prosthetics in 2016.
Well, I mean, at least they're taking care of their prisoners, because prisoners are people too. They're not slaves for your fucking license plate making.
Debatable, Nathan.
I mean, they are slaves.
There you go.
That's really unfortunate because, as we were talking about earlier with Nestle and Starbucks, slavery is not okay in any fashion.
The other thing that I cared about, beyond the what I consider to be the mistreatment of prisoners, is My Hero Academia. The last episode of Season 3 aired yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was real cool.
We're going to have to wait a half a year for more Mirio, because Mirio finally showed up, and Mirio is by far the best character.
Yeah, he seems pretty great.
He was like posing on him that entire thing, and I was like, is that a JoJo reference? That has to be a JoJo
No, he
reference.
just needed to hide his willy.
Yo, that was great. The response from Ears Girl, I forget her fucking name sometimes, Jiro, was so great because she was like the only girl that was freaked out.
I did like how Toru was hurt.
He was ripped.
Yeah, I do like how Toru was hurt that she didn't get punched because he couldn't see her.
That being said, he didn't beat them, or he didn't beat all of them because she didn't get punched.
I suppose that's true.
I don't even think she'd be able to beat him. She's shown off her light power, right?
Yeah, they showed it just momentarily when they were in the provisional license exam, how she can refract light.
So even then, they explained Mirio's quirk of permeation. Light particles go through his eyes.
Yeah.
So he can't see when he's permeating.
Yep.
So as soon as she solar flares like Tien, he just has to, boom, permeate, and absolutely nothing happens.
Yeah, his
quirk is busted. No clipping is the jam.
ID clip. Is that what all he did?
Absolutely.
He just went into the command prompt ID clip. Check it out, guys. I have no clipping.
It shows that he is talking about when he goes down into the ground and he just feels like he's falling, and that's like no clipping. they even explained how it was like a video game, and he was like, "Yes, exactly," which is great because he looks like the fucking Pit Boy.
Yeah, why does his face look so different? Are we ever told that?
Okay.
Which, I mean, maybe
So,
you shouldn't
let me
say because
explain.
Jennifer won't want to know.
The big three,
Yep,
what they're called in the show, are based on the big three in real life.
the big three in real life?
The big three in real life.
Who are the
And
big
you
three
can
in
tell
real life?
because of the way they look, right? So the guy in the back with the hair.
Yeah,
and
the
he's, like,
shy one?
constantly- Yeah. He looks like Sasuke. One of the big three is Naruto.
Yeah, sure. I even thought that he looked like Sasuke. But anyway, okay.
Hado kind of looks like a Bleach character. And that's one of the big three. And the last one is One Piece. And his attitude and demeanor and even facial structure sometimes is very reminiscent of One Piece characters.
Okay. So, okay, and I've not watched any Bleach, so I didn't see any connection between the girl and the Bleach character.
Bleach was good until you really just tried to, like, think about the power creep. Just like Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is great if you don't think about it.
Sure.
Same with Bleach. Bleach is amazing if you don't think about it. They also should have ended Bleach a lot earlier than they did, but
Hey, gotta make money.
yeah, you got to make money. That being said, Taite, I think his name's Taite Kubo has a new manga out about witches, and it is teased that it is a in-universe Bleach thing because there's a Soul Society East attached to it, or not East, West over in Europe.
All right, you ready to get out of here, friend?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Please remember, everyone, you can help support this show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. You can also, pick yourself up some of our merchandise. There is a link to our store in the description below, no matter where you're listening to this at. Excuse me. Otherwise, you can follow.
I'm going to leave the picture of the big three altered to look like the big three. In the chat, by the way.
Follow and share the show on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit. All of those are at iRedditCast. We'd appreciate your continued support. Otherwise, if you want the audio-only versions instead of the videos that are on Facebook and YouTube, you can find those on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. All of those, we would also request a 5-star review to continue support in those fashions as well, if you are on those platforms. Otherwise, just thank you for listening. We are always now on Sundays at 9 a.m. If you're wondering where the show has been, that's where. Nathan's new job that he talked about at the beginning of the show, it has changed his schedule to
It's not quite a new job. It's just a
new
different
position, whatever.
I mean, you can't just stay in one position the entire time. Like, it's boring. You go from missionary to doggy to reverse cowgirl. It's great. You just got to change positions.
Has changed his schedule to where Monday through Thursday is not possible anymore. So with that said, everybody, that's your 518th dose of the internet. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Snake Plissken.
And please remember, everybody.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Goodbye.
Bye.